All right, well, welcome back to the P18 podcast, everybody. Today we have with us Mrs. Suzanne Kelley.
Hi.
Ms. Kelley is a proud member of the math department and the faculty here at Perry High School. So, Ms. Kelley, we appreciate you spending some time with us today and the P18 podcast.
It's my pleasure.
All right, so question number one. Can you share with us a little bit about your journey and how you came to be a part of Perry High School?
I can. So I was hired originally by Dan Serrano at McClintock, and like so many of the P18 staff and family, I followed him here. I wish I had followed him earlier. I'd wanted to, but just things didn't work out. And I worked with Tom Rothery at McClintock, and he needed a dual enrollment math teacher. Gave me a call. I was one of the applicants, and luckily I got hired. The nice thing was at the time when I got hired, it was the same time my children started kindergarten. So we both became, or all three of us, because I have twins, became proud CSD, part of the CSD family.
Fantastic. So how many years now at Perry?
This is my 7th year.
Time does fly, right?
Yes.
And so the twins, they are in what grade?
They are in 6th grade, going into junior high.
Oh,
Yeah,
no. Okay. It starts now, folks.
Yes.
It starts now.
Yes.
Question number 2. So what does a typical day in your job as a math teacher here at Perry look like?
Like chaos. I get here early. I try to anyway, anywhere between 6:30 and 7. And I teach 6/5, so that time before 7 a.m. is my time to get copies or to just breathe and think about what my week is going to look like or the rest of the month or do any planning. Anyway, and then I often will have students come in for help. I teach mostly seniors, all senior level classes. So a lot of times seniors leave at 4th hour. So if they need help, they come in before school. Teach all day. During the day, I have students popping in to make up tests or to ask questions or to get help. So whenever I've told my students I have an open door, even though it's locked, policy, that they can come in and get help as long as I'm not in the middle of teaching. I can try and help them as much as possible. And I spend my time in lunch as well, available for students to either have get some help, or some students actually just want to hang out and chat with me. So yeah, that's kind of, and then after school, again, the same thing. Although I have to pick those little munchkins up, so I leave around 3 to pick them up.
So if we're talking, so just so now everybody may understand the term 6/5. So on a regular teacher day, you would have 5 classes that you're teaching, and then you have a prep period, right? But 6/5 means something else.
Yeah, it just means that I teach all 6 hours and I don't have a prep period. And so my prep time is while my kids are playing soccer at home.
So there's no break during the day?
No, there's no breaks during the day. And then I also am available for students at lunch and before school and after school.
That also means you're in demand.
Yes.
Yes, which is a good thing.
Especially this time of the quarter, at the end of any grading quarter, the students are very much looking for me.
Absolutely. All right, so sticking with Perry for a second, what part of your job would people be surprised to know about?
I feel like I'm a counselor sometimes, and I don't mean like a guidance counselor in terms of take this class or that class, but often I feel like students will ask for life advice, and I don't know that I'm necessarily qualified, and I tell them that, but I do help to coach them in how to talk to other people. I try to play devil's advocate and say, well, have you thought of this or that? And just try to give them different perspectives about the situation they're dealing with. Whether it be maybe they've had an argument with a parent or with a boyfriend, girlfriend, or a friend, and just having them to think about put the shoe on the other foot and see what that looks like for you. And it's sometimes I tell them to stop and let's actually go talk to a counselor or an administrator, but a lot of times it's more of just a piece of advice that they turn around and come back and tell me later, hey, I'm so glad you told me this because I hadn't thought of that and it worked out.
Fantastic. All right, switching gears for just a second on the next question. So if you could have dinner with any sports figure, I know you're a sports person.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could have dinner with any sports figure, could be past or present,
Okay.
who would it be and why?
Pat Tillman.
That was fast.
Yeah.
You're for certain, that's a certain
Yes.
answer, right? Okay.
I mean, unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but I admire him as an athlete, as a person who can put his country before himself, his honor and everything he did. And I just would be honored myself to be able to sit at a table with him.
So we're going to dinner, and I would probably think somewhere in Tempe,
Yeah.
Arizona State. Is there a spot that comes into your mind right away? This is where we would be?
Well, Monty's
Of course.
Steakhouse, but it's not there anymore. But again,
Hey,
This is hypothetical.
It's all hypothetical. So Monty's is the place you would be for sure for dinner.
with the rosemary
Pat
bread.
Tillman. Okay, nothing better. All right, back to Perry. What do you wish that more people understood about Perry High School?
I think that so often in social media, everyone just talks about how this went wrong or this went poorly for their student or for something, right? And in general, I don't think that people realize that the teachers here are not in any school, but especially here, teachers here are vested in the students and not just their progress as in education, but them as a whole person. We care about them being able to function, to being able to feel good about themselves, to being able to get a job, maintain a job, and just feel like they have worth and value. And also having that genuine high school experience. There's so many fun, exciting things that happen in high school, and trying to be able to provide for that. There's so many different opportunities. So many teachers give up so much of their time for different clubs and activities that I don't think a lot of people always realize that.
All right, so last question for you. We all have choices about where we can work. What makes Perry the place for you?
It feels like home. I can't think of anywhere else I'd rather be. The people that I work with, from administration down to the custodians, everybody cares about you, and everybody cares about each other, and as well as students. You know, I have students who, if I'm having a bad day, they can tell and they'll come in and ask me something. A student, in fact, today was leaving for lunch, but it was a senior who needed to come back and make a test up. And she stopped in first to say, can I bring you a coffee? And things like that is just, I didn't ask her. And I don't ask students, hey, bring me coffee. But
Right.
She just did on her own. And when she was coming back, she brought me a beverage, a coffee, and a little coffee makes a big difference. But so just the fact that people around here care about each other, and it feels like a good family and home.
I love that question. I love that answer as well. Ms. Suzanne Kelley, thank you again for taking some time today and being with us on the P18 podcast.
Thank you for having me.